Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt-out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today you cannot lose your confidence. And when I said that, just as that sentence came out, I could see it going wrong. Not just today. It's just true that you cannot lose your confidence. It's not something, well, as we've been on this exploration, as I've been on this exploration, it's become more and more obvious that it doesn't even exist, your confidence. This thing called confidence that we put so much what's the word? So much we give it so much value, don't we? We make it sound like it's the be all and end all of who we are, that without it we're somehow sorry, I'm playing around with a light here that isn't really helping. It's something that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to have more of, that we spend a lot of time seeking it. We might spend time helping other people to have more. We worry about our children if it doesn't appear that they have it. But it's, to me now, as I look at this in more and more detail, there is a human form doing a thing or not doing a thing. Now, clearly our capabilities of doing things does vary. Like, if I unfortunately break my leg, there are some things I won't be able to do whether I feel confident about it or not. Like, I won't be walking up the 3 Peaks if I've got a broken leg. But that's not what we're talking about, is it? We're not talking about somebody's innate capacity to do something. We're not talking about whether they are capable of doing it in a physical sense. We're usually talking about whether or not somebody believes they can do something. So it's almost like there's two separate entities here. There is a physical form, your body, your mouth, the words that can come out. There's all of that, and that has a capacity to do things. And although that capacity can change, like I said, if I broke my leg, then I wouldn't have the capacity to walk up the 3 Peaks. But as I said as well, we're not talking about that. Let's just talk about capacity as if it's there. Because it is. Because our capacity to do all sorts of things that we don't do, because the self-doubting voice comes in and stops us, is not that variable. It's not something you can lose. Because when we talk about confidence, that's really what we want, don't we? We want to be able to just do things in the world that we want to do, whether that is doing something in our business, or whether it is asking somebody out on a date, or anything in life where we think, I've got to feel confident enough to do that. It's the only thing that is getting in the way of that. Got stuck there a bit, but the only thing that's getting in the way of that is this self-doubting stream of noise in our heads. There's nothing to lose in this idea of losing your confidence. What really happens when people talk about "I've lost my confidence" or "I'm losing my confidence" is that they are listening more to the thoughts of their inability to do things, the self-doubting thoughts. And of course, if we are, let's say, for example, a lot of people say they lose their confidence because they've been in a job where a boss hasn't been particularly nice to them. Then all that's happened there is that the not nice things that the boss has said and done has reinforced something that was already there. Because if we're already not if we already don't if we don't have self-doubting thoughts, then it doesn't really matter what a boss says, we won't care really, we'll be all right. But if somebody already has something there that creates a level of belief, I suppose, in the things the boss has said, then it will appear that confidence has been lost because the noise in our heads that is saying you're not good enough, you can't do this, just gets louder and more demanding of our attention. It brings about feelings, and the feelings look like they're stopping us from moving forward because those feelings may be feelings of anxiety or fear or just feeling frozen. The fight, flight, or freeze thing will happen when people are caught up in that self-doubting thinking. It brings about a stress response, a response of fear of doing something. So then we're frozen to the ground and we can't do the thing that we would like to do, no matter what it is. So this idea of losing our confidence is just a very persuasive illusion, really, a really persuasive illusion that makes it look like we have lost something. But you can't lose confidence any more than you can lose a diamond by, if I get my engagement ring muddy, it's got diamonds in it. If I get it muddy, the diamonds aren't lost, they're just covered over by some dirt. I can wash my ring and the dirt will come off. And that's really like your innate capacity to do things. That's in the diamond, the present moment capacity to act in the world, to speak, to do things, to move forward in whatever way that is, just is temporarily covered over by the dirt of whatever self-doubting thinking we're believing in the moment. And that's why it's also really variable. And there are all sorts of things that may create that variance. And it's lovely to have some awareness of those things because then we can kind of cotton on to it a bit. I was speaking to a client recently and she was noticing that when she was tired and hungry and had had a busy day at work or a lot had happened, been a lot of pressure, a lot of things to do, when she got home, she noticed that she had a tendency to be in a bad mood and snap at her children. So knowing that when we are in a low mood, we are more likely to listen to the self-doubting thoughts is really helpful. So when we're not feeling particularly confident, we'll be, because probably a lot of the time it's because we're tired and hungry and worn out and really, could do with a good sleep and a cuddle and a snack. Like a child, really. A lot of the time that's all we need, don't we? And that will make the self-doubting thinking much more prevalent in our minds. Much, much more prevalent. And cover over that innate capacity to act in a way we would like to act. And it doesn't really matter whether we're talking about confidence or anything else. Calm, clarity, resilience, whatever else it is. It's exactly the same system at play. And that's what's great about this conversation is I can talk to a client about confidence one minute and anxiety the next, and, clarity the next, and stress the next. And it's exactly the same formula. You, as a human being, have the light and the energy of life flowing through you, and then you think, and it covers over your innate capacity. Now, what I do want to say really clearly now is that does not mean I am pointing towards changing your thinking. Please do not think that's what it is. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about an awareness of thought. Now, what I've noticed happening is, as I've become more aware of thought and how it gets in the way, is from this place of knowing, there is like a level of awareness at which I feel like I'm almost beginning to learn different ways of thinking. And so those old ways just stop. They stop making sense, and I don't grab onto them quite so much. I don't give them as much energy. And then the passing of those thoughts happens. But there is not a you able to choose different thoughts. Thoughts will come in, and over time, as you explore and you're in this conversation, you will start to become more aware of them and give them a different kind of attention. Like, not try and change them. Don't swap thoughts for another thought. It's just still the same you doing that after all. But it's like a moment of awareness, where there's perhaps a realization that if we carry on a certain train, if we carry on a certain train of thought, we're going to end up in an uncomfortable place. We're going to end up in that fight, flight, or freeze response in some way, shape, or form. So the good news is today you cannot lose your confidence. It is not something that you can lose. It's innate. It's who you really are. It's just doing things, really, without self-doubting thinking. In other words, it doesn't really exist, so let's not carry on pursuing it for the rest of our lives to exhaustion. That's the kind of way I'm pointing. So please do reach out if you would like to just experience more of you doing the things that you would like to do on a regular basis. Never mind about confidence. How about just doing some stuff without the hindrance of yada, yada, yada. Take care. Lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.